Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here at the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to show you some new books that I got. Last weekend, I got the opportunity to go to the Friends of the Library book sale at one of our local libraries in a nearby town, and they always have a good book sale. And of course, all the proceeds go back into the library and go to a good cause. So I'm always happy to help out. And the deal was you get a bag, so like a plastic Walmart bag, Hy-Vee bag, whatever, and as many books as you can get into it for $3. And so, as you can imagine, that can become a pretty good deal if you can load the plastic bag down. Now, my wife and I chose to take one of those. We have what we call, it's like a library bag. Some people might call it a beach bag, and it's a little bit bigger than a plastic bag, but it's cloth and it's a little bit sturdier. And so we took that with us because it just said $3, load the bag. Maybe we were stretching the rules a little bit, but in the end we ended up paying $5, or I did anyway, because the lady gave me a look like, seriously? And then she says, well, usually people use these bags. And so I was like, well, I'll pay you $5. I'll give you a couple extra bucks if it makes you feel better. So anyway, it went to a good cause. So it wasn't that big a deal. And $5 isn't going to break the bank. So anyway, I wanted to show you these books. I wanted to share with you what I found. I'm going to start off actually with a magazine that came in the mail, and then I'll get to the books. So I got my new World War II magazine in, and of course the headline is Mel Brooks Goes to War. The legendary comic looks back with humor and of course on his days in uniform. And then it's also got a U.S. sub commander's ultimate sacrifice. So Peg, you might like that article. And then how a British intelligence blunder killed dozens of Allied agents in Holland. And so I'm looking forward to that. I got that sitting on the table. I hope to dip into this here pretty soon. So we'll put that one aside. Now, let's go ahead and get to the books that I found at the Friends of the Library book sale. So this sale, let me start off with, this sale is a 3-day sale. Okay, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The only problem is that as a teacher, Thursday and Friday are pretty much a no-go, because we have actually officially started working with our pitchers and catchers, as we can do here in Iowa. We got summer baseball, and so after school, I've been doing that. And then we had something on Friday night. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, Thursday and Friday were out. So I woke up Saturday morning, and I went upstairs and woke my wife up and said, I'm going to the book sale. And so she gave me that look like, you don't need more books. But I won out. We got to go. And long story short, day 3 is oftentimes very, very picked over. It's pretty limited in the books that you'll be able to find. And so actually this probably worked to my advantage, because, me and my wife, we have the ongoing battle of more books, no books, And so by going on day 3, my options are going to be much, much more limited. I'm going to be less tempted to pick up books. So it actually worked out to our advantage. And anyway, I'm going to show you a few of those that I found. So this first one is actually a fiction book. The rest of these will be nonfiction, but the cover on it intrigued me, and I had to pick it up. I figured it would fit in the bag pretty easy because it's small. But this is called Rebel. His oath bound him to the Union, his loyalty to the South, his passion to a beautiful Union spy. And this is by John Clagett. And look at that cover. Isn't that a cool cover? They just don't, I don't feel like they make covers like this anymore. There's your back. And this is, let me pull up a date here. It's an Avon book, and it is from 1964. And I love the covers on these books. They actually had a whole bunch of these, and I almost picked them up. I ended up just picking up this one and putting the rest of them down. But there were a handful of them that I really kind of wanted, and for nothing more than just the look of the cover. But anyway, it says, Erasmus Huger, Captain Confederate Spy, was the Confederacy's greatest naval hero. He commanded the mighty ironclad Pamlico. He was destined by the fortunes of war to kill his best friend in battle and to risk his honor and his life for the love of a beautiful traitor. The big, powerful novel of the war between the states and the men and women who fought with hearts divided, the battles of a nation divided. And so just sounded kind of intriguing. And again, the cover, this is a cover by. I was pretty excited about that. And it's not very big. It's just a couple hundred pages. So it shouldn't take me any time to get through it. Next book in the stack was another paperback. So I just got a couple paperbacks. And this was in that same section, but it's not fiction. This is nonfiction. And it says, The New Nation Grows, Westward Expansion, 1769 to 1852, Eyewitness Reports of America in the Making, Volume 2, selected from the American Reader by Paul M. Angle. All right, and so I'm really looking forward to dipping into this. I've dipped into Paul Angle's stuff before, and I enjoyed the small selections that he puts together. This is from Premier Americana, Fawcett Publications out of Greenwich, Connecticut, and it is from the year 1960. So it's got a little bit of age. Got to be careful how you open it. Right now, the spine, if you can see, is in perfect condition. This is, I'm not going to call it a brand new book. It's got a little bit of the old used dusty smell, but it's in pretty good shape. Pretty excited about that. Back cover says, The American Reader is a vividly unique portrait of our nation's past, a treasury of eyewitness accounts from the contemporary letters, diaries, newspaper stories, and other writings describing the important events in American history by those who were there. The New Nation Grows records America's dynamic westward expansion from Daniel Boone to the historic California Gold Rush. And it's got some other volumes in this series. It's got A New Continent and a New Nation. And then, of course, you got The New Nation Grows, and then it's got The Nation Divided, The Making of a World Power, and The Uneasy World. Now, I have got volumes 3 and 4 in this series, and I just now, honestly, realized that this is from that series I've already got. It's in hardback, and it looks a little bit different on the cover, so I didn't realize it. But so now I've got volumes 2, 3, and 4, so that's real nice. Next one that I picked up, and it just looked interesting. I don't know that it's really going to add a whole lot, but I like these kind of books. It's A Pictorial History of American Presidents by John and Alice Durant. And I really liked the cover. That probably helped in my decision to buy it. It comes from A.S. Barnes and Company out of New York, and this is a 1955 book. So, a couple of these have got some age, but that's okay. It says, this is perhaps the most significant book yet produced by the gifted husband and wife team of John and Alice Durant. Having already given us pictorial history of American ships and with Autumn and Bettman, pictorial history of American sports, they now top their previous efforts with a book that is bound to receive acclaim from coast to coast. Over 2 years were spent in gathering and selecting 566 prints, paintings, and cartoons, many of which have never been published before. Thousands of hours of research at various governmental agencies, libraries, museums, and historical societies ensure the accuracy of fact and picture presented. It is an informal history covering every administration and significant and interesting events that occurred. The personality, habits, character, and family of each president is presented in a personalized manner, containing a light, sometimes humorous touch. The book will undoubtedly bring a new understanding of the lives of our presidents and the history of our country. So I will enjoy it. It's a pretty fast read. It's got a lot of pictures to go along with the text. It's got probably more pictures than text, it seems like. But just looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Going through the presidents. Like I said, it's a little bit older, so it's not necessarily up to date, but I will enjoy it. Now, if you follow the channel, you know that, first of all, I read John Meacham's book, Thomas Jefferson, The Art of Power, last month, I believe I read it, or maybe it was December, right in there. And right now, I'm reading The Hemmingses of Monticello. So I've been really hitting up Jefferson and I had not read a ton on Jefferson for a while. And so as I've been going to the used bookstores, I've been honestly picking up several books on Jefferson just because he's in my head right now. And one of the things that we read about in our buddy read just a couple of chapters back, it was talking about his farm books and his meticulous notes on everything that went on his farm. And I happened to run into Thomas Jefferson, the garden and farm books. And so I was real excited about that. And it's in really good shape. And it's from Fulcrum out of Golden, Colorado. It's edited by Robert C. Barron. And it is from 1987. And so I'm really excited about this book just because we've been talking about it in the book we're reading and in our buddy read. But it's just got, basically, just to kind of open it up, it's got all of the notes and stuff that he took in his farm books and garden books. And so I just think, I don't know if it's a kind of book you're going to read cover to cover, but it's just interesting, all of the different things he took note of. And of course, in our book, The Hemingses of Monticello, it was talking more about the slavery side of it. And it would have his lists of the slaves he owned and all of that kind of stuff. And so this will play into the conversation we were having. So I look forward to going through that. Next book on the stack is a gigantic book that I was not familiar with until I saw it. And this is called Flawed Giant. It's Lyndon Johnson and His Times, 1961 to 1973 by Robert Dallek. And I don't believe I know I don't have this book. I don't know if I've got Robert Dallek. His name sounds familiar, and I think I have something else by him. But this is apparently, I believe, volume 2 in his biographies on Lyndon Johnson. And as you'll notice, this is a chunky monkey. This comes from Oxford University Press out of New York. It's a 1998 book. And it says, let me read this inside cover right fast. It says, Lone Star Rising, the first volume in Robert Dallek's biography of LBJ, was hailed by Doris Kearns Goodwin as a triumphant portrait of Lyndon Johnson as rich and oversized and complex as the nation that shaped him. Now in the final volume, Dallek takes us through Johnson's tumultuous years in the White House, his unprecedented accomplishments there, and the tragic war that would be his downfall. In these pages, Johnson emerges as a character of almost Shakespearean dimensions, a man riddled with contradictions, a man of towering intensity and anguished insecurity, of grandiose ambition and grave self-doubt, a man who was brilliant, crude, intimidating, compassionate, overbearing, driven, a tornado in pants. That was a really long sentence. Drawing on hundreds of newly released tapes and extensive interviews with those closest to LBJ, including fresh insights from Lady Bird and his press secretary, Bill Moyers, Dallek takes us behind the scenes to give us a portrait of Johnson that is at once even-handed and completely engrossing. We see Johnson as the visionary leader who worked his will on Congress like no president before or since, enacting a range of crucial legislation from Medicare, Clean Air and Water Acts, and the establishment of national endowments for the arts and for the humanities and public broadcasting to the most significant advances in civil rights for Black Americans ever achieved. And we see for the first time the depths of Johnson's private anguish as he became increasingly ensnared in Vietnam, a war he did not want to expand and which destroyed his hopes for the Great Society in the second term. Exhaustively researched and gracefully written, Flawed Giant reveals both greatness and the tangled complexities of one of the most extravagant characters ever to step onto the presidential stage. So that sounds like that's going to be interesting. Like I said, I've heard Robert Dallek's name before, and I'm wondering if I've got something else in the collection by him. Here's my question, BookTube. With this book, do I need to find volume 1 first? Do I need to read volume 1, or can I just go ahead and read this and be good to go? So let me know down in the comments section what you think about that. All right, so moving through, we got a couple more books to show you, and then I'll wrap this up. This next one is Franklin Roosevelt versus the Supreme Court, Supreme Power by Shesol. And I hope I didn't butcher that too bad, that name. Shesol. So there's our book. Sorry about that glare. These have got a nice library cover on them, so that's always good for protecting them. This is from W.W. Norton and Company out of New York, and it's a 2010 book, so a little bit newer than those first couple. So in this book, it says, in the years before World War II, Franklin Roosevelt's fiercest, most unyielding opponent was neither a foreign power nor fear itself. It was the U.S. Supreme Court. Beginning in 1935, in a series of devastating decisions, the Supreme Court's conservative majority left much of FDR's agenda in ruins. The pillars of the New Deal fell in short succession. It was not just the New Deal, but democracy itself that stood on trial. In February of 1937, Roosevelt struck back with an audacious plan to expand the court to 15 justices and to pack the new seats with liberals who shared his belief in a living constitution. The ensuing fight was a firestorm that engulfed the White House, the court, the Congress, and the nation. The final verdict was a shock. It dealt FDR the biggest setback of his political life, split the Democratic Party, and set the stage for a future era of Republican dominance. Yet the battle also transformed America's political and constitutional landscape, hastening the nation's march into the modern world. This brilliant work of history unfolds like a thriller, with vivid characters, unexpected twists, providing new evidence with fresh insight. Shesol shows why understanding the court fight is essential to understanding the presidency, personality, and the legacy of FDR, and to understanding America at a crossroads in its history. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be very interesting. I don't believe I've read anything in depth on the battles with the court. I know I've read it in various biographies, but I've never zeroed in on that. And I've got actually a couple of books on that subject, so that'll be good to be able to compare different viewpoints on that. All right, and the last one, which is very timely right now. It's too bad I don't have time to actually get it read, but it's called Ratification. The People Debate the Constitution, 1787 to 1788 by Pauline Maier. And I have got another book by Pauline Maier. She is a top-notch historian of this time period. Very well known. Another library book, so it's got the plastic cover, and it's too bad it's got this. I mean, I could probably get it off of there, but I don't want to tear anything up. But this is her work on the Constitution, and it comes from Simon & Schuster out of New York, and it is another 2010 book. Now, I said this is very timely for the very reason that this is exactly what we are doing in class right now with my 8th graders, and we're looking at the Articles of Confederation, the goods and bads of that, and why we're starting to head into, today we'll be talking about why we needed the Constitution, and then in the next day or two we'll be arguing setting up the Constitution that at the convention. And so I'm not going to really read the inside cover because I think just by the title you kind of get the idea of what the book is about. So looking forward to that. And then the last book I've actually got already, but I picked it up just to put in my classroom as an extra book to have on the shelf. Probably, honestly, over the heads of I know it is. It's going to be over the heads of my middle schoolers, but it might be something maybe a high schooler would pick up, or something I could, for an advanced reader, one of the advanced students, if they're looking to read in this, I could get this, or give this as a recommendation. But it's called The Quartet, Orchestrating the Second American Revolution, 1783 to 1789. Again, very timely because this is exactly what we're covering. It's by Joseph Ellis, and I've got a copy of this in my library already. I was going to take it to school, and I hesitated because I wanted to see if this copy is better than the copy I've already got. I'm being a little bit greedy on this, but this is Alfred A. Knopf out of New York, and it was his 2015 book. And so I'll go ahead and read this last cover to you, and then we'll wrap up this video because we're starting to get a little bit long, hitting the 20-minute mark. So here we go. From Pulitzer Prize-winning American historian Joseph J. Ellis, the unexpected story of why 13 colonies, having just fought off the imposition of a distant centralized governing power, would decide to subordinate themselves anew. We all know the famous opening phrase of Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth to this continent a new nation. The truth is different. In 1776, 13 American colonies declared themselves independent states that only temporarily joined forces in order to defeat the British. Once victorious, they planned to go their separate ways. The triumph of the American Revolution was neither an ideological nor a political guarantee that the colonies would relinquish their independence and accept the creation of a federal government with power over their autonomy as states. The Quartet is the story of the Second American founding and of the men most responsible: George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and James Madison. These men, with the help of Robert Morris and Gouverneur Morris, shaped the contours of American history by diagnosing the systemic dysfunctions created by the Articles of Confederation, manipulating the political process to force the calling of the Constitutional Convention, and conspiring to set the agenda in Philadelphia, orchestrating the debate in the state ratifying conventions, and finally drafting the Bill of Rights to assure state compliance with the constitutional settlement. Ellis has given us a gripping and dramatic portrait of one of the most crucial and misconstrued periods in American history, the years between the end of the Revolution and the formation of the federal government. The Quartet unmasks a myth and in its place presents an even more compelling truth, one that lies at the heart of understanding the creation of the United States of America. And so, like I said, pretty excited about that book. I really like, I really like all of Joseph Ellis's books. I'm pretty sure I read this one already. I'm pretty positive I did. But like I said, I was getting it, it looked like it possibly, with being a hardback and everything, I think mine might be a paperback. So it might be in better shape, might be something I want to put on my shelf and then just take my paperback to school. Or if my copy's better, then this will go to school. But anyway, it was just to add stuff for my kids at school. So, BookTube, this was my Friends of the Library book haul. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of the books, if you've read them, any suggestions or anything like that. I thank you for all of the new subscribers out there. That's been a wonderful experience for my channel, and we greatly appreciate that. Here in the coming days, I did get a mail haul, some Todd from the Bursting Bookcase up in Minnesota. He's been weeding through his books and sorting stuff out, and he sent me some books, quite a few like usual, and I'm very appreciative of it, and I want to show those to you. So in the coming days, I'm going to kind of split them up so the video is not like an hour long. I'm going to split it up into a couple of different videos, and I will show you what he sent me. I'm pretty excited. There was a couple of real gems in there, and I'm just always thankful when somebody sends me books. That's always nice. Very generous. So anyway, BookTube, thank you for everything. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy reading.